Hello, and welcome to this River's Edge Arts Alliance production of Charles Dickens' classic, A Christmas Carol, adapted by Peter Worrest and the River's Edge Players. Before we begin, the Arts Alliance would like to thank all of you listening for your past support as we continue to offer what programming we can in the present we are in. Your continued support allows us to look ahead and plan for programming in the future that once again brings us together, celebrating art in the auditoriums, halls, and parks along the Assabet. We would like to especially thank Ella Rose Studios, Lazer Sound Production, and Worrest Photography for underwriting support of this production. Ella Rose Studios offers custom vinyl products to enrich your life. We specialize in custom orders alongside a huge selection of bumper stickers, decals, apparel, cups, and decor. Shop us online at ellarosestudios.com. Our best sellers this season include a customized cookie plate and milk jug for Santa and a personalized elf with or without a face mask. Tons of last-minute gifts available for shipping throughout the U.S. or pick up in Worcester, Mass. Choose from one of our pre-designed styles or design your own for the perfect result. Visit ellarosestudios.com or find us on social media at Ella Rose Studios. Worrest Photography provides safe, on-location, portrait and event photography for individuals and families, as well as brand identity consulting and photography for small businesses looking to make an impact. Whether you are posing for portraits to celebrate the new year or rolling out a brand new look for your business in 2021, Worrest Photography has solutions for you. For more information or to book your next session, visit www.worrestphotography.com. That's www.worrestphotography.com. Lazer Sound is our go-to provider for top-quality light and sound production for concerts and shows. Whether it's one stage or many, big or small, Lazer Sound has the expertise and equipment to support your next community event, school musical, or concert. Lazer Sound is supporting virtual plays throughout the region, and your production could be next. Email lasersoundpro@gmail.com for more information. That's lasersoundpro@gmail.com. And remember, that's laser with a Z. This production of A Christmas Carol has a running time of 90 minutes with one brief intermission. And now, the River's Edge Players presents A Christmas Carol.
Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know, of my own knowledge, what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadliest piece of ironmongery in the trade. But the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, and my unhallowed hands shall not disturb it, or the country's done for. You will therefore permit me to repeat emphatically that Marley was as dead as a doornail. There is no doubt that Marley was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story we are going to relate. If we were not perfectly convinced that Hamlet's father died before the play began, there would be nothing remarkable in his taking a stroll at night, in an easterly wind, upon his own ramparts. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood years afterwards, above the warehouse door. Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge, Scrooge, and sometimes Marley. But he answered to both names. It was all the same to him. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire. Secret and self-contained, and solitary as an oyster. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheek, and stiffened his gait. He carried his own low temperature always about with him. He iced his office in the dog days and didn't thaw it 1 degree at Christmas. Extreme heat and cold had little influence on Scrooge. No warmth could warm, no wintry weather chilled him. No wind that blew was bitterer than he. No falling snow was more intent upon its purpose. No pelting rain less open to entreaty. Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house.
It's mighty cold. It's a wonder my fingers can still scratch out any letters. Maybe I could work faster with some more coal on the fire.
I wonder why my clerk would be reaching for a shovel instead of a pen. I have no business paying a salary to a coal layer, I'm sure.
I suppose I'll keep my station and just stay warm by candlelight.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Humbug.
Christmas a humbug, Uncle? You don't mean that, I am sure.
I do. Merry Christmas. What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
Come, then, what right have you to be dismal? What reason have you to be morose? You're rich enough.
Humbug.
Don't be cross, Uncle.
What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas. Out upon Merry Christmas. What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older but not an hour richer? If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart, he should.
Uncle!
Nephew! Keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it? But you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone, then. Much good may it do to you. Much good has it ever done you.
There are many things from which I might have derived good, by which I have not profited, I dare say, Christmas among the rest. But I am sure I have always thought of Christmas time as a good time. A kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time, the only time I know of when men and women open their shut-up hearts freely and think of people below them as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe that it, above all occasions, has done me good and will do me good, and I say God bless it.
Well said, sir.
Let me hear another sound from you, Bob, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. Fred, you're quite a powerful speaker, sir. I wonder why you don't go into Parliament.
Don't be angry, Uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow.
I would rather see you in hell first.
But why? Why?
Why did you get married?
Because I fell in love.
Because you fell in love. Good afternoon.
Nay, Uncle, but you never came to see me before that happened. What, give it as a reason for not coming now?
I said good afternoon.
I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why cannot we be friends?
Good afternoon.
I am sorry with all my heart to find you so resolute. We have never had any quarrel to which I have been a party. But I have made the trial in homage to Christmas, and I'll keep my Christmas humor to the last. It's given me plenty of reasons to be cheerful. So a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
And a Happy New Year.
Good afternoon.
Merry Christmas, Bob.
Merry Christmas, Fred.
There's another fellow, my clerk, with 15 shillings a week and a wife and family. Talking about a Merry Christmas. I'll soon have fitness enough for the asylum.
Scrooge and Marley's, I believe. Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Mr. Marley has been dead these 7 years. He died 7 years ago this very night.
I have no doubt his liberality is well represented by his surviving partner. At this festive season of the year, Mr. Scrooge, it is more than usually desirable that we should make some slight provision for the poor and destitute, who suffer greatly at the present time. Many thousands are in want of common necessaries. Hundreds of thousands are in want of common comforts, sir.
Are there no prisons?
Plenty of prisons.
And the union workhouses, are they still in operation?
They are. Still, I wish I could say they were not.
And the treadmill and the poor law are in full vigor, then?
Both very busy, sir.
Oh, I was afraid from what you said at first that something had occurred to stop them in their useful course. I'm very glad to hear it.
Under the impression that they scarcely furnish Christian cheer of mind or body to the multitude, a few of us are endeavoring to raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. We choose this time because it is a time of all others when want is keenly felt and abundance rejoices. What shall I put you down for?
Nothing.
You wish to be anonymous?
I wish to be left alone. Since you ask me what I wish for, that is my answer. I don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I help to support the establishments I have mentioned. They cost enough. Those who are badly off must go there.
Many can't go there, and many would rather die.
If they would rather die, they had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Besides, excuse me, I don't know that.
But you might know it if you attempted
It's not my
to...
business. It's enough for a man to understand his own business and not to interfere with other people's. Mine occupies me constantly. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon indeed, Mr. Scrooge.
Well, it's time to be locking up. You'll want all day tomorrow, I suppose.
If it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient, and it's not fair. If I was to stop half a crown for it, you'd think yourself ill-used, I'll be bound. And yet, you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work.
It's only once a year, sir.
A poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. But I suppose you must have the whole day. Be here all the earlier next morning.
Yes, sir. I promise, sir.
Ugh.
If I hurry, I'll have time to slide down Cornhill a few times before I'm missed at home.
Scrooge took his melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tavern, and having read all the newspapers, and beguiled the rest of the evening with his banker's book, went home to bed. He lived in chambers which had once belonged to his deceased partner. They were a gloomy suite of rooms, and dreary enough, for nobody lived in it but Scrooge. The yard was so dark that even Scrooge, who knew its every stone, was fain to grope with his hands. Now it is a fact there was nothing at all particular about the knocker on the door, except that it was very large. It is also a fact that Scrooge had seen it, night and morning, during his whole residence in that place. Also that Scrooge had as little as what is called fancy about him as any man in the city of London. Let it also be borne in mind that Scrooge had not bestowed one thought on Marley since his last mention of his 7 years dead partner that afternoon. And then let it any man explain to me, if he can, how it happened that Scrooge, having his key in the lock of the door, saw in the knocker, without its undergoing any intermediate process of change, not a knocker, but Marley's face. Marley's face. It was not an impenetrable shadow, as the other objects in the yard were, but had a dismal light about it. It was not angry or ferocious, but looked at Scrooge as Marley used to look, with ghostly spectacles turned up on its ghostly forehead. The hair was curiously stirred, as if by breath or hot air, and, though the eyes were wide open, they were perfectly motionless. That, and its livid color, made it horrible, but its horrible, like Medusa's, seemed to be in spite of the face and beyond its control, rather than a part of its own expression. As Scrooge looked fixedly at this phenomenon, it was a knocker again. To say that he was not startled, or that his blood was not conscious of a terrible sensation to which it might have been a stranger from infancy, would be untrue. But he put his hand upon the key he had relinquished, turned it steadily, walked in, and lighted his candle.
Just an ordinary door? Solid door? Pooh, pooh. Oh, humbug. on, old Marley, so... There's no one here, save me. Least of all, old Jacob. But now I spy his face in every shadow. Ha! Humbug. It's humbug still. I won't believe it. A trick. Besides which, nothing could pass through that locked door.
Whoa.
Oh, how, now? What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Who were you, then? You're particular for shade.
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
Can you sit down?
I can.
Well, do it then.
You don't believe in me.
I don't.
What evidence would you have of my reality beyond that of your senses?
I don't know.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. Oh, you may be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. Why, there's more of gravy than of grave about you, whatever you are. You see this toothpick?
I do.
You are looking at me, not it.
I see it, notwithstanding.
Well, I have but to swallow this, and be for the rest of my days persecuted by a legion of goblins, all of my own creation. Humbug, I tell you, humbug! Oh! Mercy! Mercy, dreadful apparition, why do you trouble me?
Man of the worldly mind, do you believe in me or not?
I do. I must. But why do spirits walk the earth, and why do they come to me?
It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men and travel far and wide. And if that spirit goes not forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death. It is doomed to wander through the world. Oh, woe is me! And witness what it cannot share, but might have shared on earth, and turn to happiness. Oh.
You are fettered. Tell me why.
I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it, link by link, and yard by yard. I girded it on of my own free will. And of my own free will I wore it. Is its pattern strange to you? Or would you know the weight and length of the strong coil you bear yourself? It was full as heavy and as long as this 7 Christmas Eves ago. You have labored on it since. It is a ponderous chain.
Oh, Jacob. Oh, Jacob Marley, tell me more. Speak comfort to me, Jacob.
I have none to give. It comes from other regions, Ebenezer Scrooge, and is conveyed by other ministers to other kinds of men. Nor can I tell you all I would. Very little more is all permitted to me. I cannot rest. I cannot stay. I cannot linger anywhere. My spirit never walked beyond our counting house. Mark me. In life, my spirit never roved beyond the narrow limits of our money-changing hall, and weary journeys lie before me.
You must have been very slow about it, Jacob.
Slow?
7 years dead and traveling all the time?
The whole time. No rest, no peace, incessant torture of remorse.
You travel fast?
On the wings of the wind, always a spirit in motion.
You might have got over a great quantity of ground in 7 years.
Captive, bound, and double-ironed. Not to know that ages of incessant labor by immortal creatures for this earth must pass into eternity before the good of which it is susceptible is all developed. Not to know that any Christian spirit, working kindly in its little sphere, whatever it may be, will find its mortal life too short for its vast means of usefulness. Not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one life's opportunity misused. Yet such was I. Oh, such was I.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business. Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. At this time of the rolling year, I suffer most. Why did I walk through crowds of fellow beings with my eyes turned down, and never raise them to that blessed star which led the wise men to a poor abode? Were there no poor homes to which its light would have conducted me? Hear me, time is nearly gone.
I will. But don't be hard upon me. Don't be flowery, Jacob, pray.
How it is that I appear before you in a shape that you can see, I may not tell. I have sat invisible beside you many and many a day. Is no light part of my penance. I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate, a chance and hope of my procuring Ebenezer.
You were always a good friend to me, thank ye.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Is that the chance and hope you mentioned, Jacob?
It is.
I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow when the bell tolls 1.
Couldn't I take them all at once and have it over, Jacob?
Expect the second on the next night at the same hour. The third upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. Look to see me no more, and look that, for your own sake, you remember what has passed between us.
The apparition walked backward from him, and at every step it took, the window raised itself a little, so that when the spectre reached it, it was wide open. Scrooge followed to the window, desperate in his curiosity. He looked out. The air was filled with phantoms wandering hither and thither in restless haste, and moaning as they went. Every one of them wore chains like Marley's ghost. None were free. One ghost cried piteously at being unable to assist a wretched woman with an infant, whom it saw below upon a doorstep. The misery of them all was clearly that they sought to interfere for good in human matters, and had lost the power forever. Whether these creatures faded into mist, or mist enshrouded them, he could not tell. But they and their spirit voices faded together, and the night became as it had been when he walked home.
A quarter to it. But a quarter to what? Why isn't it possible that I can have slept through a whole day and far into another night? Even if it was a dream, I'll not be caught off guard. I must stay awake until the hour has passed. Oh, why must the clock drag on so? Can I have dozed off and missed it? A quarter past. Half past. A quarter to it. The hour itself and nothing else. Ah! What is this light? What figure appears before me? What? Who? Are you the spirit whose coming was foretold to me?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, your past.
Please, spirit, can you put on your cap, your light? It burns my eyes.
What? Would you so soon put out with worldly hands the light I give? Is it not enough that you are one of those whose passions made this cap and forced me through whole trains of years to wear it low upon my brow?
Yeah, it was not my intention to offend, spirit, nor do I have any knowledge of having willfully bonneted you at any period of my life. What has brought you here, spirit?
Your welfare.
While I'm much obliged.
Your reclamation, then. Take heed. Rise and walk with me.
Please, spirit, I am not dressed for going out, and certainly not out the window. I am a mortal and liable to fall.
Bear but a touch of my hand there, and you shall be upheld in more than this.
Good heaven, I was bred in this place. I was a boy here.
Your lip is trembling. And what is that upon your cheek?
Nothing. A pimple. Lead on.
You recollect the way?
Remember it? I could walk it blindfold. It's down the rail trail, beyond the barn.
Strange to have forgotten it for so many years. Let us go on.
Why, spirit, I've walked along these roads many times as a boy. Look at my schoolmates all heading home for Christmas. Hello, George. And look there, it's William.
These are but shadows of the things that have been. They have no consciousness of us.
Out they all go. I expect the school is rather deserted.
The school is not quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still.
Well, he had the company of books to keep himself entertained. Why, one Christmas time, Ali Baba appeared just outside as real as, well, quite real to me. Then Valentine, and his wild brother, Orson. There you go. And what's his name, who was put down in his drawers asleep at the gate of Damascus? Don't you see him? And the Sultan's groom turned upside down by the genie. There he is upon his head. Serve him right, I'm glad of it. What business had he to be married to the princess? Oh, poor boy.
Let us see another Christmas.
Dear brother, I have come to bring you home, dear brother. To bring you home.
Home, little fan?
Yes, home for good and all. Home forever and ever. Father's so much kinder than he used to be that home's like heaven. He spoke to me so gently one dear night when I was going to bed that I was not afraid to ask him once more if you might come home. And he said, yes, you should, and sent me in a coach to bring you. And you're to be a man, and are never to come back here. But first, we're to be together all the Christmas long, and have the merriest time in the world.
You are quite a woman, little fan.
Always a delicate creature, whom a breath might have withered. But she had a large heart.
So she had. You're right. I will not gainsay it, spirit. God forbid.
She died a woman, and had, as I think, children.
One child.
True. Your nephew. Come now. Do you know this warehouse?
Ah. Know it? Was I apprenticed here? Why, it's old Fezziwig. Bless his heart, it's Fezziwig, alive again.
Yo-ho there, Ebenezer! Dick!
Ah, Dick Wilkins, to be sure. Bless me, yes, there he is.
Yo-ho, my boys! No more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Dick. Christmas, Ebenezer. Let's have the shutters up before a man can say Jack Robinson's.
Right away, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hilly-ho, clear away, my lads, and let's have lots of room here. Hilly-ho, Dick. Cheer up, Ebenezer.
Here's the fiddler now. Let's dance already. Come now, friends, don't be shy.
There's plenty of food and drink, and plenty of time to get to it later.
Just try and outlast us fezziwigs on the dance floor.
Come you all and dance on! Well done!
A small matter to make these silly folks so full of gratitude.
Small?
Listen.
There never was a grander feast in all the lands, nor a finer party than tonight. Bless you, Master Fezziwig.
I can think of no finer men in all the world than you, sir, and no host finer than you and Mrs. Fezziwig.
Why, is it not? He has spent but a few pounds of your mortal money, 3 or 4 perhaps. Is that so much that he deserves this praise?
It isn't that. It isn't that, Spirit. He has the power to render us happy or unhappy, to make our service light or burdensome, a pleasure or a toil. Say that his power lies in words and looks, in things so slight and insignificant that it is impossible to add and count them up. What then? The happiness he gives is quite as great as if it had cost a fortune.
What is the matter?
Nothing particular.
Something, I think.
No. I should like to be able to say a word or two to my clerk just now, that's all.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
My time grows short. Quick!
It matters little. To you, very little. Another idol has displaced me, and if it can cheer and comfort you in time to come, as I would have tried to do, I have no just cause to grieve.
Oh, no.
What idol has displaced you?
A golden one.
This is the even-handed dealing of the world. There is nothing on which it is so hard as poverty, and there's nothing it professes to condemn with such severity as the pursuit of wealth.
You feared the world too much. All your other hopes have merged into the hope of being beyond the chance of its sordid reproach. I have seen your nobler aspirations fall off one by one, until the master passion gained engrosses you. Have I not?
What then, Belle? Even if I've grown so much wiser, what then? I am not changed towards you, am I?
Our contract is an old one. It was made when we were both poor and content to be so, until in good season we could improve our worldly fortune by our patient industry. You are changed. When it was made, you were another man.
I was a boy.
Your own feeling tells you that you are not what you are. I am. That which promised happiness when we were one in heart is fraught with misery now that we are two. How often and how keenly I have thought of this, I will not say. It is enough that I have thought of it, and can release you.
Have I ever sought release?
In words? No, never.
And what then?
In a changed nature, in an altered spirit, in another atmosphere of life, another hope is its great end, in everything that made my love of any worth or value in your sight. If this had never been between us, tell me, would you seek me out and try to win me now? No.
You think not.
I would gladly think otherwise if I could, heaven knows. When I have learned a truth like this, I know how strong and irresistible it must be. But if you were free today, tomorrow, yesterday, can I even believe that you would choose a dowerless girl?
No.
You who, in your very confidence with her, weigh everything by gain, or choosing her, if for a moment you were false enough to your one guiding principle to do so, do I not know that your repentance and regret would surely follow? I do. And I release you. With a full heart, for the love of him you once were. You may.
Please listen.
The memory of what is past half makes me hope you will.
But I
have pain in this. A very, very brief time, and you will dismiss the recollection of it gladly, as an unprofitable dream, from which it happened well that you awoke. May you be happy in the life that you have chosen.
Spirit, show me no more. Conduct me home. Why do you delight to torture me?
I told you these were shadows of the things that have been, that they are what they are. Do not blame me.
Remove me. I cannot bear it. Leave me. Take me back. Haunt me no longer.
In the struggle, if that can be called a struggle in which the ghost, with no visible resistance on its own part, was undisturbed by any effort of its adversary, Scrooge observed that its light was burning high and bright, and dimly connecting that with its influence over him, he seized the extinguisher cap and by a sudden action pressed it down upon its head. The spirit dropped beneath it, so that the extinguisher covered its whole form, but though Scrooge pressed it down with all his force, he could not hide the light which streamed from underneath it in an unbroken flood upon the ground. He was conscious of being exhausted and overcome by an irresistible drowsiness, and further, of being in his own bedroom. He gave the cap a parting squeeze, in which his hand relaxed, and he barely timed to reel to bed before he sank into a heavy sleep.
We hope you are enjoying this River's Edge Players production of A Christmas Carol. The second part of this classic tale will be available on Christmas Eve. Thank you to additional sponsors, Malahy's Cheese Shop and Finn Chiropractic, for their support. Malahy's is an artisan cheese and specialty food shop that has a vast assortment of imported, domestic, and artisan local cheeses, hand-selected by their resident certified cheese professional, Katie Quinn. Ordering ahead for pickup is available. Visit their website at www.malahys.com. Their goal at Malahy's is to make it easy to make your life more cheesy. As your friendly local chiropractor, Dr. Stephen C. Finn knows that the stress of 2020 has created more stiffness and pain than usual, and that you will benefit from chiropractic treatments. Finn Chiropractic has remained open to patients throughout the pandemic and maintains strict health and safety protocols for the protection and peace of mind of all patients. Dr. Finn is accepting new patients, and appointments are available. Call 508-485-1110. That's Finn Chiropractic with Dr. Stephen C. Finn, 508-485-1110, yours in health. Join us Thursday when we conclude the River's Edge Arts Alliance production of A Christmas Carol.